Chris Hemsworth was born in Melbourne, Australia, into a loving but modest family where stability, practicality, and hard work were more valued than dreams of stardom or artistic ambition. From the earliest days of his childhood, he felt a magnetic pull toward performance, storytelling, and the kind of life he saw unfolding on television and in movies, though the reality around him offered very little encouragement for such aspirations. Melbourne's suburban streets were safe and familiar, but they were also filled with limitations, reminders that life was rarely easy or extraordinary. As a young boy, Chris often found himself observing the world with a quiet intensity, imagining himself in different roles, experimenting with voices, gestures, and dramatic expressions in front of mirrors or an audience of close family. Despite this early fascination, he struggled with the typical insecurities of adolescence, feeling small in a world full of personalities who seemed confident, fearless, and destined for success. At school, he was neither the brightest nor the most popular, but he possessed a quiet charm, a physicality, and a presence that drew attention in subtle ways. Sports and theater became his refuge. Soccer, surfing, and local school plays offered him outlets to channel energy, express emotion, and discover discipline. These early experiences, seemingly ordinary, were laying the foundation for a resilience and focus that would later define his career. Chris's family situation was loving but practical, money was limited, and they stressed the importance of education and stable employment over chasing dreams that seemed uncertain and risky. This tension fueled a quiet determination in him, a need to prove that ambition and talent could coexist with practicality, that success could be earned without abandoning his roots or integrity. By his teenage years, Chris's fascination with acting had intensified, leading him to participate in community theater productions, where he devoted countless hours to rehearsals, memorizing lines, exploring character motivations, and observing the subtle interplay of emotion and timing on stage. Yet the reality of financial constraints was ever present. Chris took on part-time jobs, working long hours delivering newspapers, stacking shelves, and helping in local businesses, often returning home exhausted but refusing to let fatigue dampen his passion. The duality of labor and art became his early education in perseverance, the understanding that true talent must be paired with relentless effort, sacrifice, and resilience. Through these experiences, he began to internalize lessons that would later serve him on far larger stages, that rejection is inevitable, that failure is instructive, and that self-belief is the most crucial tool an artist can possess. Small moments of recognition from teachers, directors, and peers acted like gentle affirmations, nurturing his growing conviction that he was meant for something beyond the ordinary. By the time he reached his late teens, Chris made a decision that would alter the trajectory of his life. He left the comfort of Melbourne and moved to Sydney, a city alive with opportunity yet teeming with uncertainty and competition. This move was both thrilling and terrifying. It meant leaving behind the familiar warmth of family, friends, and routine, stepping into a vast unknown where he had no guarantees, no safety net, and no clear path to success. Sydney was a crucible, testing his courage, determination, and willingness to embrace vulnerability. Every day brought new auditions, new challenges, and the harsh reality that talent alone would not open doors. Persistence, adaptability, and self-promotion were equally critical. Chris threw himself into this environment with intensity, navigating long hours of training, auditions that often ended in polite rejection, and the relentless inner pressure to prove that he belonged. Each setback was a test of resilience, yet he learned to see them not as failures but as opportunities to grow, refine his craft, and strengthen his resolve. The long nights, moments of self-doubt, and small victories accumulated into a formative experience that shaped his mindset, teaching him that success is rarely immediate but always possible with dedication and courage. Even amidst exhaustion and uncertainty, Chris never lost sight of the dream that had been quietly growing inside him since childhood, the dream of stepping onto a stage or screen and capturing the hearts of audiences with authenticity, charisma, and emotion. That dream, nurtured through years of sacrifice, discipline, and unwavering commitment, was about to set him on a journey that would take him far beyond the streets of Melbourne and Sydney, across oceans, into the heart of Hollywood, and eventually to global fame as one of the most recognizable and inspiring figures in modern cinema. What began as a quiet fascination in a suburban Australian home had become a burning determination to prove, first to himself and then to the world, that with resilience, hard work, and unshakable belief, dreams, even the most audacious ones, could indeed be realized, and that no obstacle, rejection, or fear could stand in the way of someone willing to pursue their passion relentlessly. Sydney was both exhilarating and intimidating for Chris Hemsworth, a sprawling city that promised opportunity but delivered a reality far harsher than he had imagined. The streets teemed with aspiring actors, models, and performers, each carrying dreams just as big and in some cases, bigger than his own. The early days were a test of patience, endurance, and mental fortitude. Auditions came frequently but rarely led to success. Polite rejections, fleeting interest, and the constant reminder that in this world, only a fraction would make it, became part of his daily routine. Chris faced moments of crushing self-doubt, lying awake in his small, sparse apartment late at night, questioning whether he had made the right choice in leaving Melbourne. The comfort of family, friends, and familiarity beckoned like a warm but unattainable refuge, and yet, he knew that to achieve greatness, he had to endure discomfort, uncertainty, and repeated setbacks. Every rejection became a lesson, a critique of performance, an insight into industry standards, a subtle guide toward growth. Chris began meticulously analyzing casting calls, observing actors who succeeded, studying their delivery, physicality, and charisma, understanding that Hollywood demanded not just raw talent but presence, adaptability, and an ability to connect instantly with audiences. Alongside acting, he committed to physical training, recognizing that the industry valued a combination of performance and visual impact. Gym sessions, athletic routines, and stunt training became part of his daily regimen, building not only strength but the confidence to embody roles that required both vulnerability and heroism. Financial pressures loomed constantly. He lived frugally, balancing part-time jobs with auditions, learning to survive in a city where every day tested resilience, patience, and persistence. Despite exhaustion and occasional despair, Chris refused to yield. Small victories began to accumulate, minor television roles, guest appearances, and opportunities that paid little but offered experience, exposure, and incremental validation. Each success, no matter how modest, reinforced his belief that perseverance and hard work could alter the trajectory of his life. Mentorships, advice from industry insiders, and the rare moments of genuine praise became fuel for his determination, guiding him as he navigated casting directors' often impenetrable expectations. Gradually, Chris's craft evolved, his voice gained clarity, his expressions became nuanced, and his physicality was now a conscious tool rather than instinctual talent. The turning point came with a role in a popular Australian television series. While not a blockbuster, it drew attention from international scouts and hinted at the possibility of a career beyond his homeland. It was a moment of revelation, the realization that years of struggle, sacrifice, and relentless pursuit were converging into opportunities that could propel him into the global arena. Fueled by this breakthrough, Chris began preparing for the monumental leap to Hollywood. He studied American accents, researched successful actors, absorbed the nuances of film versus television, and visualized the types of roles he wanted to embody. The preparation was painstaking and required both self-discipline and courage. He had to leave behind the safety net of home, face the unknown cultural landscape of Los Angeles, and endure the possibility of failure on a scale far larger than anything he had experienced before. Yet the fire within him, sparked in Melbourne, tempered in Sydney, was unwavering. Each audition, each small role, each early rejection had fortified him, teaching lessons that no amount of formal education could. By the time Chris finally set foot in Hollywood, He was more than an aspiring actor. He was a craftsman, a disciplined performer, and a young man prepared to seize opportunities with courage, humility, and an unshakable belief that his dedication would eventually yield the recognition, success, and fulfillment he had dreamed of since childhood. In these formative Sydney years, Chris Hemsworth transformed from a hopeful teenager with raw talent into a disciplined artist, ready to confront the global stage, carrying not only the skills of his craft but the invaluable understanding that persistence, adaptability, and self-belief are the true currencies of success in the unforgiving world of entertainment. Arriving in Los Angeles, Chris Hemsworth faced a city pulsating with ambition, filled with thousands of hopeful actors who shared the same dream, to break into Hollywood and leave their mark on the world. The first months were a trial by fire. Casting calls became daily tests of patience, confidence, and perseverance. Rejection letters, politely phrased dismissals, and brief, indifferent auditions became a rhythm that could have crushed anyone less determined. Chris quickly realized that talent alone was not enough. Hollywood demanded charisma, adaptability, discipline, and an almost relentless willingness to reinvent oneself. He immersed himself in the culture of the industry, observing seasoned actors, analyzing performances, and learning the delicate balance between confidence and humility. Days were consumed by training both mentally and physically, voice exercises, movement drills, character studies, and a rigorous fitness regimen that would later allow him to embody roles demanding both vulnerability and physical heroism. Financially, he lived frugally, sometimes subsisting on minimal meals and shared apartments, but his mind remained focused, his determination unshakable. The struggles and rejections of Sydney had prepared him, but Hollywood magnified everything: pressure, competition, and stakes. Still, Chris refused to falter, holding on to the vision he had nurtured since childhood, the dream that had survived every minor role, every disappointed glance, and every moment of doubt. The pivotal moment came when he auditioned for a role that would redefine his career: Thor, the Norse god of thunder. The role demanded more than just acting ability. It required physical transformation, emotional depth, command of mythic presence, and the capacity to connect with audiences on a universal level. Chris threw himself into preparation with total commitment. He trained intensely, sculpted his physique, mastered accents, studied Norse mythology, and worked tirelessly to inhabit the psyche of a character both larger than life and deeply human. The audition was grueling, yet he delivered a performance that resonated with directors, producers, and casting agents alike. When the offer came, it was more than a breakthrough. It was the culmination of years of relentless work, sacrifice, and unwavering belief in himself. The release of Thor catapulted Chris Hemsworth into global stardom. Suddenly, he was recognized worldwide, his face, body, and talent projected onto screens in every corner of the globe. Yet even amid fame, he remained grounded, remembering the days of Sydney apartments, minor television roles, and moments of doubt that had forged his resilience. He continued to hone his craft, refusing complacency, and expanded his career with diverse roles, proving his range as an actor capable of both action-packed heroism and nuanced, intimate performances. Beyond professional success, Chris embraced family and charitable work, showing that true achievement encompasses both personal fulfillment and contributions to the broader world. His journey from a modest Melbourne upbringing, through relentless struggle in Sydney, to international acclaim illustrates a profound truth. Dreams are never gifted, they are earned through persistence, courage, and unwavering self-belief. Chris Hemsworth's story resonates universally because it is not merely a tale of fame, it is a testament to human resilience, a narrative that inspires anyone who has faced rejection, fear, or uncertainty. It proves that with unrelenting effort, strategic preparation, and a refusal to surrender in the face of adversity, even the loftiest dreams can be realized. The transformation from a hopeful teenager in suburban Australia to a global icon standing on the world stage as one of cinema's most beloved figures exemplifies the power of persistence, vision, and heart. For anyone who doubts their path, Chris's journey serves as a guiding light, a cinematic roadmap of how courage, discipline, and faith in one's abilities can turn an ordinary life into an extraordinary legacy, leaving a mark that inspires generations to come.